Mystical short stories inspired by William Blake. The Roar of Rintrah. In the beginning, there was only silence, until Rintrah roared. From the womb of the storm, where fire and mist curled around each other like old lovers, Rintrah rose, a being of divine wrath cloaked in radiant fury. His voice shook the burdened air, rattling the bones of creation. The clouds, swollen with ancient hunger, swagged heavy over the deep, as though they too knew a reckoning had come. Once there was a man, meek, luminous, and just. He walked the perilous path with a lantern fashioned from the breath of angels. He trod the vale of death, alone, where even shadows dared not whisper. Yet roses grew where his feet fell. Roses, bright and trembling, blooming defiantly amid the thorns. Honey bees, drunk on nectar, sang songs of defiance on the barren heath. The world shifted around him. Peril gave birth to abundance. Springs leapt from cliffs like laughter escaping the chest of the earth. Rivers coiled lovingly around tombstones, washing clean the names etched in sorrow. Red clay pulsed like living flesh over bleached bones. And the villain, he who had lived in ease, was drawn into these perilous paths. He followed the scent of transformation, seeking to unseat the just man, whose righteousness scorched the soil. But the world had changed. The snake, once proud and venomous, now slithered with false humility through the roots of men's minds. And the just man, stripped of comfort, raged like the lion among the wilds, roaring alongside Rintrah. The heavens trembled. A new heaven had begun, not one wrought by choir songs and golden gates, but one forged in fire, ink, and contradiction. The eternal hell stirred from its slumber, yawning wide beneath the feet of prophets and poets. And there sat Swedenborg, the angel at the tomb, his parchment folded like funeral linens. His revelations were no longer revelations, they were echoes, bones of belief without breath. Edom's dominion cast long shadows over paradise. But Adam, yes, Adam, had begun his return. Blake's words, sharp as lightning, split the sky. Without contraries is no progression. And so the world spun, balanced on opposing truths. Love waltzed with hate. Reason arm-wrestled with desire. Attraction flirted with repulsion. From this dance of opposites came what priests called good and evil, but they were mistaken. Good, they said, was reason, passive, obedient, dimly flickering behind law and custom. Evil, they warned, was energy, wild, disobedient, rising like flame from the loins of stars. But Blake knew. He knew that evil was merely misunderstood delight, that energy was life itself. He saw the soul not as a prisoner inside the flesh, but as the very body of fire and sensation. Man had no body separate from soul. He was the pulse of infinite delight, wearing the costume of clay. And those who restrain desire? They do so because their desires are faint embers, not wildfires. Reason, that usurper, seizes the throne, placing shackles on impulse, until longing is reduced to a shadow, mute, pitiful, and obedient. Milton had told this tale before, but Blake inverted the mirror. In Paradise Lost, the archangel who led the heavenly host was Lucifer, misunderstood, cast out for his rebellion. And reason, Milton's Messiah, became the cold governor of a sterile heaven. In Job, Satan is not the enemy but the voice of questioning. Who truly fell? Desire. Desire, the comforter, the holy flame, longed to return, not as sin, but as the architect of worlds. For the God of fire, Jehovah, once Christ crucified, now dwelt not in altars but in longing. Milton, noble but blind, wrote in chains when he spoke of angels and heaven, and free when he wandered through hell. For in truth he was of the devil's party, and he knew it not. And so, beneath the roar of Rintrah, a truth blazed. There is no heaven without hell. There is no joy without sorrow. There is no becoming without contradiction. Let the meek rise in fire. Let the villain seek the thorny path. Let the soul wear the body as a crown. For the marriage of heaven and hell had begun, and its child would be eternity. And eternity is in love with the productions of time.